I'm in a hot air balloon right now, 4,000 feet high up in the air, watching over the gorgeous landscape of this landlocked Southeast Asian country that I think is the most underrated country in Asia. In this video, we're going to explore some of the highlights of this gorgeous nation, and I'm going to try to show you some of the best things that you can do in a short trip to Laos. It is 3 p.m. and this is my first day in Laos. Technically my second day, but I arrived here to Laos, to Vientiane airport in the evening at like 6 p.m. and my flight was delayed from Cambodia, from Phnom Penh, which is where I filmed the last video. And I was incredibly hungover with very little sleep. That was a rough day. And then I got here and I missed the last bus to where I am right now, Vang Vieng, which is like a hour and a half to the north of Vientiane, which is on the border of Thailand. So I had to get a taxi for $90 because I only have a couple of days in this country of Laos and I didn't want to change up my schedule too much. I wanted to see what I wanted to see. Now, Laos is a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. It's the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia and it's supposed to be beautiful. And I can kind of see that. Like I'm in a very sleepy small town. Everything around it is so beautiful. It looks like the north of Vietnam almost, like Ninh Binh, where I actually went to but never made a video from. So I'm gonna spend a couple of days actually staying here in Vang Vieng and then exploring the area around it. And then I'm gonna go up to Luang Prabang. And this is actually gonna be more of a vlog than like the travel documentaries that I've been making. So this is gonna be like more of a old school video that I used to make where I just like wing it and figure out everything out on the way and show you the adventure. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about Laos and let me get off the main road before some car runs me over. So with a population of only 8 million people, Laos is the least populated country in Southeast Asia. And it's also one of the least densely populated countries in this whole region, you could say. It's a very mountainous country, and the average elevation of the entire country is over 700 meters high. Now, when you combine that with the dense jungle that Laos is surrounded by, that kind of explains why like not a lot of people live here. It's been historically hard to even get to here. Only 6% of the land here is like arable or like suitable for agricultural production. When you compare that to the neighboring countries, which is like around 20% for most of the neighboring countries, there's not a lot of space to like produce food to sustain a large population, which also explains the lack of a population here, you could say. The borders are like also boxed in by mountains, and then there's the Mekong River, which forms a part of the border. But the problem with the Mekong River here is that you can't take it all the way to the ocean because it turns into the Kuang Falls in the south of Laos, which is impossible to navigate by boat. So historically, people from the ocean couldn't get up the Mekong River all the way to Laos as well. So because of these reasons, Laos has historically been less developed than its neighboring countries. It's actually got the third lowest GDP per capita in Southeast Asia after the war-torn Myanmar and Timor-Leste, where I made a video from last year, if you guys remember. Although, you know, geography explains part of the reasons why Laos isn't as developed as its neighboring countries, there's also a big part of, you know, the history of colonialism where other bigger or powerful countries exploited the country that played into the current status of Laos. So the kingdom of Lan Xang was a Lao kingdom that existed here hundreds of years ago, and it controlled much of the area that is modern day Laos for about 400 years, and you could say that kingdom was a precursor to the modern state of Laos. In 1893, Laos became officially a French colony, a part of French Indochina, and then in 1953 it gained independence. Around the same time, Cambodia got independence from the French, but that wasn't the end of all issues. You might remember this from my Cambodia video, but because of its location right next to Vietnam, it got involved in the Vietnam Civil War without even wanting to get involved. And then America started bombing it to hell. Like, this is the most bombed country per capita to this day. And fortunately, all of that ended in the 70s, 80s, and since then there's been like a peaceful transition to a peaceful economy where it's rapidly growing and making steps forward. Enough about history. If we talk about history, that's gonna take the entire video. This is about more adventure and the nature of Laos. So when I got here last night, it was actually kind of chilly. It was like sweater weather. I think it went down to like 14 degrees at night. But during the day, it is hot as hell. It's like 33 degrees. Very sunny, not super humid thankfully, but still pretty hot. So I just got like a Pepsi Max to survive the heat. The good thing about here is that they accept money in US dollars, and the currency exchange rate is crazy. It's like $1 to 20,000 Laotian kips, I believe that's what it's called. So it's very easy to become a millionaire if you just have like $50 worth of cash. Now I'm gonna actually head to the adventure. We're at the location. It's 4:51 p.m. and I'm about to go paramotor sailing for the first time in my life. I'm getting my weight checked. Oh, thank you. And I guess I'm gonna go off. Oh, there's one taken off right there behind me. I'm the last one waiting here, and then we're gonna get on one of these, I think paramotors. What it's called? Paramotor gliding. I don't know the exact name. But I hired a service with a GoPro, and this cost I think $75 or something. But I'm also taking my own DJI Osmo. I switched from GoPros to the Osmo line because GoPro just stopped innovating, and they're using a GoPro 5. At least that the flyer said they're using a GoPro 5, which is what I used to use for filming back in 2017, back in Indonesia. So I hope the video quality there will be okay. If not, I got you with this one. We're about to get on the bike. Yes?
You have camera?
You have a GoPro as well?
Yeah.
That was completely insane. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Okay. Wow. Okay. That was so much fun. Those weren't tears of joy, although I was very happy. That was just the wind getting in my face, bringing the water out of my eyes. How are you, brother?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Bangladesh.
Oh, Bangladesh. I can speak Indian too.
You can speak Hindi?
India.
Like Hindi?
Hindi. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you know? Over there? Alright, it's day 2 and we just rented out a buggy or whatever this is called, and we're gonna go for a drive to see some of the places around Vang Vieng. This is supposed to be tight. I heard these like don't even go that fast. Should we figure out where we're going? Whoop, my hat is flying away. We came to our first stop. That buggy ride was fun, but the brakes are non-existent. So if you rent one, make sure you're not going too fast. And this is called Blue Lagoon number 2 where we're at. And I didn't bring my swimsuit. I forgot that we could go to the lagoons. So we're gonna go in and maybe I'll get in my underpants, but let's see. We're stopped for some quick lunch because today's gonna be a really busy day. And I don't know if we'll have time to eat till dinner after this.
Excuse me, sir.
How
Are
you
you
doing?
using that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a video in Pai?
In Pai?
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you watch it, like the stuck in the pie hole?
Yeah, I saw it when you went to the Pai Canyon and also tubing. Yeah, I watched this before the journey, and then I was like, okay, I have to go to Pai, and I did exactly the same. It's a very nice video because I followed you because just the vibe and everything you explained it very good. I really liked it.
So this Blue Lagoon looks a lot more like a water park than I expected. Usually Blue Lagoons in Asia or the Philippines or Thailand are just somewhere in the jungle. This is very well developed. And there's like slides and lots of things you can do, like a zip line and stuff like the guys doing behind me. But I've decided I'm not gonna get in my undies because I feel like if I jump from too high, they might come off. And we have to return the buggy in like 30 minutes. So we're gonna head back. For our last adventure of the day, we're gonna ride a hot air balloon in Laos in this beautiful landscape, which I'm very excited about. You might have seen my older videos from Cappadocia and from Mexico, where we did the hot air balloon rides there, and it was really insane. And I'm hoping this one is gonna be the same. They just did like a safety briefing for us, explaining how things work, and now they're getting the balloons inflated. I can go inside? Yeah. Holy crap. Okay, I'm actually inside the hot air balloon. I don't think I've ever been inside a hot air balloon while it's being inflated, so this is pretty crazy. Looks like we're almost ready to go.
Okay, you can step and hold. You can put it.
Excited? Yes! I found my assistant for the day for filming. This is Georgia from Australia. We are taking off.
I see.
We're up in the sky at 1,600 feet, and we're in the shade of this mountain in front of us, but now we're high up enough to see the sun again.
Follow the forest.
And now we're going over some forests.
11 kilometers per hour
Do it.
speed now.
We're at 3,800 feet, which, if I remember right, is the last time I was supposed to pull out my parachute when I was skydiving. And we're actually above all of the limestone karst formations that kind of define the landscape of this part of Laos. This is really beautiful.
Now we are 20 minutes on the air.
So we're on the way down. We went over this mountain. We're like surrounded by these mountains right now. It's insane. And the colors look so much more beautiful now that we're actually much closer to sunset.
Here is
Lots of cows just running there. Like, okay, we're on these farms with like hundreds of cows, it seems like. We're here particularly to see these cows.
It's amazing.
It's almost time to land.
Oh,
stand.
It's the softest landing I've had. Deflating our balloon is done. Now I guess we're taking the van to the next destination. So we finished the thing, they packed everything safely, and we're having a little feast of Pringles and mangoes and apples and some champagne where they pop the bottles. So if you've seen my previous videos from Mexico and from Turkey, I guess it's like a traditional thing where you have like a champagne at the end of every single flight. I want to thank Above Lao for this wonderful flight. Like, you can find surprisingly cheap hot air balloon flights in Laos, and that's because a lot of the companies are not following like the safety protocol like they're supposed to, which makes it very dangerous for anyone involved. And that's why there's a lot of incidents with these cheap hot air balloons. So if you do come to Laos, if you do a hot air balloon flight, I'd strongly recommend this company because this is the only company in Laos that follows international safety protocol, and we saw that. All right, we're gonna eat this and we're gonna do something else tomorrow. Okay, it's 10:40 a.m. and it's another day, and now I'm going to try to hike up to probably the most popular viewpoint with the most popular picture in Laos. We've started the ascent. I think it's 150 meters up. It said it takes 30 minutes. Let's see how long it takes. It's basically stairs at the beginning. Okay, now it's becoming more of an actual climb. So I guess the part with the easy steps are over. Okay, we're back to steel steps now. For like maybe a second, I see more mud hiking up ahead. This is becoming a really technical hike. I think it's kind of actually tricky to do with one hand occupied by the camera because we're constantly using like ropes, these metal bars to like climb up. I'm definitely going to be putting the camera in the bag on the way down. All right, this last part really is a climb. Roughly after 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, we made it to the top. There's a bit of traffic jam at the end. Views are amazing. There's one photo point and there's a really long line of people of us waiting to take a photo at the photo point. It's crazy how bad I'm sweating right now. Okay, I think I got my shot that I wanted, the drone shots that I wanted, so we're gonna get down and put everything in my bag so I don't break it on the way down. An hour after this hike, I went to check out Tipsy Tubing in Vang Vieng. If you remember what the lady was talking about earlier, I went to Tipsy Tubing, a similar thing in Pai, and that was one of the best parties I've ever been to in my life. This one was definitely not the same. So basically the concept was the same. We're on these tubes that were supposed to float down the river and take us to these different spots or bars. The water was so shallow, I was worried the whole time about hitting my ass on the rocks while I was sitting on one of these tubes. Maybe it was the wrong season, maybe that's why it was so shallow and so dangerous. It was so shallow, the rocks were sticking out and we literally just kept getting stuck on these rocks. And sometimes we just had to stand up. This is not going as planned because we're walking with our tubes because it's too shallow. But I have to say that once we got rolling, the views at least seemed to be much better than Pai. But the actual bars or parties could have been a lot better. There were like a couple of bars and there was some good music, but the way this one was set up was that they had a speaker with anyone with a Bluetooth device or a phone with access to the speakers, and anyone could go and change the song that was on. As you might imagine, it was so chaotic. All kinds of music was playing and the songs were changing like every 20 or 30 seconds sometimes. It was very hard to get into a mood and enjoy it. Unlike Pai, which had like professional DJs and proper stages and like proper venues to dance at. The Pai one was twice a week, which is why there was a lot of hype around it and a lot of people showed up. This one just happened every single day. So you had no idea who's gonna show up each day. It could have been 50 people like it was with us. It could have been like 100 people. It could have been even 10 people. You just never know till you come here. But then again, once the parties were rolling, the views were pretty nice. What was very interesting was to see like little kids playing next to the parties. And sometimes these little kids were helping their parents at work who seemed to be selling stuff to the partygoers. But again, it was so chaotic. We're literally crashing into wooden bridges every time we're not paying attention. And even when we were paying attention sometimes, like you saw with my friend over here. You know, because once you're caught in the current, it's very hard to change directions on a tube. And we saw some Asian tourists capsizing with their canoes. But what made it really, really bad is the overall terrible organization of the party. There were supposed to be 3 stops, and I think we never found the last stop. Maybe because we're moving too slow, because we're getting stuck, or maybe because we went past it and no one at the bar noticed us and no one brought us in. But it turned dark and it got cold. So it was like pitch black darkness. Air temperature was like 15 degrees or maybe colder, and we're like freezing in the water. So we basically had to get out of the tubes at some random place by the river because it was just too cold and too dark and we didn't know where to go. And most of us weren't carrying our phones because, you know, you don't want to take that into a river. I just had my Osmo Action with me, and my whole group didn't even know how to get home. So we had to like ask people where the hostel is till we like finally got back. So if the Pai party was like a 9.5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, the Tipsy Tubing, this one I'd probably give like a 3 out of 10. Like, it has a lot of potential, but they're just not doing things right. But anyways, the adventure continued the next day. It's another day and I took a high-speed train to come north to the city of Luang Prabang, and the train took 51 minutes, and this is like actually a high-speed train with I think going like more than 160 kilometers per hour. And man, that train station was so fancy. It was like an airport. You have to go in, get your bags checked, have a waiting area, there's like drinking water, clean bathrooms. I don't think I've seen a train station anywhere in Southeast Asia that looks like that, which is crazy because like this is a country with not a lot of developed roads. So I think the same journey would have taken like 8 to 10 times longer if I came by a bus by the winding roads. But I think Laos has been working with China and they've built these like high-speed trains that go all the way to Vientiane, the capital where I came from. And Luang Prabang, by the way, is the ancient historic capital of the Kingdom of Laos back in the day. So this has a lot of temples, a lot of palaces and stuff like that even the modern capital doesn't have. And the actual entire old town of the city, the historic core and buffers around that has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in order to try to protect it. Right now I'm about to go into one of its most famous temples. Okay, I'm in this temple called the Wat Sen Sukharam, if I'm pronouncing that right. This was a temple that was originally built more than 300 years ago, so it's very historic. And it was apparently built using stones from the Mekong River, which kind of runs through the town of Luang Prabang. And it looks really beautiful. A lot of golden decorations in the temple. Now I'm gonna head to the pretty part of town by the river that's supposed to be really cool. Not too far from here. I came to the famous riverside, and there's this really cool part where the Mekong River meets another river that sort of flows into it, and you see a lot of really old boats, or old looking boats at least, with the Lao flag on it. You can do like a sunset tour of it, but I'm not doing that right now because I don't have enough time. Right by the river, also all these very small, like 2-story, 1-story buildings that look like they have French colonial architecture because Laos was a French colony. And interestingly, next to the Lao flags, I also saw a couple of communist flags, like the sickle and the hammer, because I believe Laos might still be officially a communist state. It's 12:41 p.m. It's another day, and I just drove for an hour on like the proper back roads of Laos, basically dirt roads, with a lot of potholes and a lot of like unpaved areas. And while I was coming to this place, there were literally 10-year-olds driving the same roads on bikes without helmets. Kind of sums up road trips in Laos. Now I'm about to go to this waterfall, which I think is one of the more popular places in this country to visit. And this is a much bigger tourist destination than I thought it was. So there's like group tours coming in with loads of people. There's like a proper ticketing office that included the price of 60,000 kips, which is like less than $3, included the journey on an electric car to get here. There's loads of shops outside of it. Now I'm going through a walking trail to get to the waterfalls. So there's sun bears and some other kind of bears here that apparently are poached and endangered because of that. I think I'm seeing the first sightings of the waterfall. There's a lot of smaller sections of the waterfall, but if you keep walking down the walking trail, at the end you see the main waterfall for the Kuang Si waterfall, and it looks pretty incredible. Has to be one of the best waterfalls I've seen in this part of Asia, I gotta say. And also from what I heard, it apparently looks better during other times of the day when the lighting is a bit better. It's like 2 p.m. bright lighting right now. It is 4:12 p.m. and I'm back in my hotel room balcony. And funny enough, there was a road slide on the way back that blocked the road, but I managed to make it through. Thankfully, they used some bulldozers to clear out the mess and I was able to get back in time for my flight. And I have to catch a flight in 3 hours out of Luang Prabang to Bangkok, so I guess this is the end of the video in Laos, which really has turned out to be one of the more underrated countries I've been to in Asia because it's surrounded by Thailand and Vietnam that gets like so much more tourists. A lot of people don't talk about how cool of a country Laos is by itself. The people here have been really nice, similar to like all the other people in Southeast Asia. The nature has been insane. The adventures that I've had just in the very short time have been also crazy. Like I don't think I did that much stuff even in Vietnam or Thailand or any of those countries. What I really like about this is that it still feels a bit more raw, you know? It's not as like polished or developed in a lot of ways as, let's say, Thailand is, but it's more fun going to places like that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still like a lot of tourists that do come here, a lot more than used to, maybe 10 years ago, but it still feels like more of a raw adventure. And I only saw the center to the north of the country, just 2 cities literally. There's a lot more to see, a lot more hikes in Nong Kia and Pak Se and like a lot of the other places on the other side of Laos. Laos is like a long country. You can take a bus for 24 hours from Vang Vieng and still be inside Laos, as my friend did. That is it for this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like it. If you want to watch more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And if you want real-time travel updates, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Nadir on the go. I'll catch you guys in the next video from I don't even know where. Let's see.